All right, this is entry 10 in my video journal. Um, I think I'm going to title this one Insomnia because that's what I have right now. In my last video, I talked about that I was getting back on Zoloft, and I, starting last week, Tuesday, I was taking 25 milligrams a day. And then after a week, then you can bump it up by 25. So I bumped it up to 50 um, on Tuesday of this week. So today is Thursday. It's like 4 in the morning on Thursday. Um, yeah, on Tuesday I bumped it up. So the last 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, both took 50 milligrams. And both nights I didn't sleep at all. So I've been up for, oh boy, how long is that? Just the last time I slept would have been Monday night, like Monday to Tuesday. 24, 48. Yeah, I'm getting close to like 3 days being awake. Um, I mean, I slept yesterday. I took a nap in the morning for like 2 hours, um, but that barely counts when you're talking like 70 hours awake. Um, I can even see it right now looking at my um, OBS. My eyes look crazy. Like I look like a guy that hasn't slept in 70 hours. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I just wanted to make a quick little video. Um, I don't Mostly because I'm super bored. When you've been awake for this long, you start running out of things to do. And this is like a major, like main side effect when you up a dose of Zoloft. Apparently, from the research I was doing, when you up a dose, you'll often experience pretty bad insomnia. So I'm hoping it goes away soon and I can actually sleep. Maybe I'll try to just sleep like during the day today. Although I kind of wanted to avoid that because then I'll like screw up my like sleep cycle. But yeah, just one way or another, I'm gonna have to get this under control. Last night I took like melatonin, and yeah, it didn't work at all. Just was awake all night. This night too, and I don't just sit here at my computer when I'm awake because that's if you're having insomnia, I wouldn't recommend doing that. It I would recommend like laying in your bed, and you could even just so you're not just laying there just being painfully bored, like stuck with your own thoughts all night, because that's not great for you either. I don't think, at least not for me. I take my headphones and I take them off and I put them like next to my pillow, and I'll just have like podcasts or whatever playing, like documentaries or just something that just can play as background noise. So at least you have something that you can listen to while you're laying there, and have it playing at a low volume so you can fall asleep. Because if it's playing too loudly, you're not going to be able to fall asleep just because it's like playing so loud. And also make sure you're not listening, if you're doing this, make sure you're not listening to things that have a lot of sudden changes in volume, because I've done that before. I used to listen to Art Bell like radio broadcasts because they're all archived online. I used to fall asleep to those all the time, and it would be like his show, like the talk portion would be like quiet, and then suddenly the commercial would come on, and it would just be like super loud and wake me up like every time. Um, you can also go into your settings for your headphones, and you can set it under, I think it's under the enhancements tab in your properties of your headphones. Um, yeah, under enhancements, you can check a box called loudness, and that actually does, well, it does make everything louder, but it like it evens out the sound, so there's no like huge peaks and valleys in the sound. It all kind of is the same volume, and I would recommend doing that if you're gonna put your headphones next to your pillow to sleep like I do. Um, but yeah, nothing really like the fact that I don't really even feel tired after being awake for like 3 days now. I hope I'm not going manic again. I don't I don't feel like it, but that's the thing about mania is it's very very hard to tell. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I do feel almost a little bit, but I could just be telling myself that. I guess we'll just wait and see. Try to sleep as much during the day as I can, and yeah, really not a whole lot else going on. I've taken. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last recording or what day that even was. I think that was Sunday. Yeah, I did. This week I did go into work on Monday. It was the first time I'd been into work in over a week, and I ended up having a panic attack in the morning, and I left at first break around like 9:30. Um, and yeah, I wasn't at work at all the rest of the week. I guess Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's Thursday, I think. Yeah, today's Thursday. Um, yeah, obviously, after not sleeping for 3 days, given the nature of my job, which I don't really want to get into too much, it's I can't go to work in this state. If Yeah, just given the nature of my job, it wouldn't be safe. So, and my employer understands that. And I did go in yesterday, um, just in the morning, just to check in with them, like in person, because I've always been just calling on or like calling in the morning on the phone. But I wanted to go in person so they could actually see me and like look me in the eye and know that I'm not like making this stuff up. Because that's always a fear of mine is that my employer is gonna not believe me and they're gonna try to fire me. But what's even worse is if they don't believe me, anyone else that comes along in the future and is having mental health problems, they also likely won't believe them either. And so if you don't do it correctly in this situation and like be able to prove to them that you have these problems, you could potentially be doing a lot of harm to not just your own job and lose your job, but to other people as well in the future. So it's good to treat this stuff seriously. Um, and if your employer doesn't take it seriously and they just don't believe you and you're providing them with all the evidence they want, doctor's notes, and like all this, and they still are just being on your case about it, quit your job because, well, actually, if you if you would be so inclined, you could easily take them to court. If you're in America, that would be something. It's suing people in America is like the easiest thing to do. In Canada, it's a little different. In Canada, you can just go to the labor board and they'll sue them for you. So that's kind of nice that we do actually have rights these days. Because back in the day, you would have just gotten fired and nothing would have happened. You would have just lost your job and probably your house. And your wife would have left you for the mailman or whatever. But yeah, nowadays it's if you're someone like me that has these issues, we do have an entire system in place to help us. And don't be afraid to I was going to say take advantage of that system, but that sounds pretty bad. Don't be afraid to use that system when you need it, and don't take advantage of it. Because if you are taking advantage of that system, it's like the people that take advantage of welfare, they ruin it for everybody else that actually needs it. So, yeah, be honest with yourself. And yeah, that's really about all I had to say about that. Yeah, this is actually Probably the longest I've ever been awake in my life. I've never had insomnia this bad. My insomnia usually is like I can usually still sleep at least a little bit every night when I'm having insomnia. I think the worst I ever had it was I was averaging maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night for like a month. That's the worst I had before. But and that destroyed me going that long with that little sleep. So I'm hoping that this ends soon. And I was looking it up yesterday, and apparently people that take their Zoloft in the morning have way worse insomnia. But I'm taking my Zoloft usually with like supper, like in the evening. So I'm not sure. I don't think that's it. But yeah, so far the insomnia and the acid reflux are like the two worst side effects I've had. Um, I have noticed already a decrease in anxiety levels. Like I went into the bank a few days ago. I had to go deal with some stuff at the bank, and I noticed that talking to the teller at the bank, I just had like zero anxiety talking to her. Like it was, I normally would have been like, she's like a good looking girl, so I normally would have been like a little bit like awkward and like quiet. 'Cause that's just how I am. Not great at talking to girls, and uh, yeah, I had no problem talking to her. We just had like a normal conversation there, which is not normal for me. So I'm guessing that means that the medication's working. And yeah, felt like no anxiety. I my brain just like went blank. That I guess is the lack of sleep taking effect. But yeah, I can't imagine I'll be going into work. Well, definitely not today, because I'm supposed to be starting work in like 2.5 hours from now, and I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm not going to get 3 days worth of sleep in 2 hours. So um, yeah, I probably won't end up going tomorrow either. Tomorrow's Friday, unless I some by some miracle am able to sleep like 12 hours today and over the night. Probably won't be going in on Friday. And then it'll be the weekend. And then, yeah, then next week, I'm really hoping that I'm feeling better by next week, that I'm sleeping normally again, and anxiety is lower. And it should be. If I've already noticed it's a bit better, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll definitely try to go in on Monday. And yeah, if I need to end up leaving throughout the day, then I'll just do that. But yeah, I'll try to come in on Monday, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, what else? I don't know. I don't think really anything else has been happening. Oh, if you do have like insomnia and stuff, or you just sleep poorly, and you don't know what your circadian rhythm is, if those words sound foreign to you, um, look it up. Uh, Circadian rhythm, spelled Circadian rhythm. Um, yeah, if your circadian rhythm is out of whack, you're gonna sleep really poorly, and it's gonna affect like every other aspect of your life negatively. Your circadian rhythm is super super important. Um, my circadian rhythm was totally fine, so this is obviously my issues aren't because of that. But I'm just saying, like, if for a lot of people that is just their problem. They either are exposed to way too much light, way too late into the evening, because your circadian rhythm a good rule of thumb is only let in as much light into your eyes as you would be getting like naturally, like outside. So like right now I have these lights on to film this video, but as soon as I'm filming these videos, these lights are going off because the sun's not up yet. Was the sun? I don't turn any lights on in my house until the sun goes up, and when the sun goes down, I turn the lights off, and I just have like one small light that kind of like backlights a little bit of glow in my room, so it's not pitch black, but or in my office. But and I have a program on my computer monitor that it's called Flux IO maybe. What is the actual name of this program? Yeah, F.lux. Flux. Yeah, it's a program that you set what time you wake up and what time you go to bed. And I'm having like acid reflux again, always from this medication. Yeah, you set what time you wake up and what time you go to bed, and then it'll adjust the brightness of your computer screen and change the amount of blue light that's coming through, because blue light is going to have a huge effect on your circadian rhythm. And yeah, it filters out. Like right now, my screen is like totally orange. Not totally orange, but it has an orange like tinge to it because yeah, all the blue light is filtered out, so it's just coming through as kind of orangish, which your eyes get used to very quickly. When you first get the program, it's going to look like, wow, this looks really bad. But after like a couple hours, you just don't notice it anymore. And you don't need to like look at it for a few hours every time. It's like the initial first few hours, your eyes adjust to it, and then from that point on, your screen will just look normal to you. But it is blocking out that blue light still. So yeah, I would recommend something like that if you spend a lot of time at a computer. I'm sure you can get programs like that for your phone as well. I've never looked into it because I don't really use my phone, but you can probably get those as well. And phones do automatically dim at night, but it's not nearly enough. I would recommend getting some kind of program or something that can dim your screen even more if you're one of these people that insists on taking your phone into your bed and stuff like that, which that's a horrible, horrible habit to get into. You should really stop that if you do that. But yeah, that's really about all I was wanting to cover. Just talk about insomnia and give a little update where I'm at. Yeah, and if you're wondering why I'm always looking up here, it's because my calendar is up here, and I write like my calendar is just full of writing, just from like I record my medication, my bills, like everything. I write everything on my calendar, because I have a terrible, terrible memory. I always have, so that's why I'm always looking up there. Um, but yeah, that's not really relevant. And oh yeah, in another one of my videos, I showed you that piece of paper I had taped to my wall. It's saying that like how to like stay good like mentally, like my checklist that I go through, and I made an updated one. Um, because a lot of that stuff didn't apply anymore because like I don't smoke weed anymore, I don't drink coffee anymore, like that kind of thing. So I updated it. I haven't put it up yet because I might still make some changes, but um, yeah, no weed, no booze, no caffeine. Eat at least 2,000 calories a day. Remember just blank technique. That's something I'll talk about in a minute. Keep up with bills and housework, make smart financial decisions, and work out regularly. If you didn't watch my other video, these are the things, or at least most of them, that if I keep up with these things, then I stay good mentally. But if I let even one or two of these things slip, then I start to spiral and things get bad. So that's what this is about. I would highly recommend if you have problems like what I do, like mentally, or your mental state fluctuates quite a lot, I would highly recommend making a list like this, so you can just put it somewhere where you're always going to see it. And then if you start to notice that you're spiraling, you can just immediately look at that list and run down the checklist. Okay, am I doing that? Am I doing that? Am I not doing that? And you can just do that. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Oh yeah, I was gonna also talk about the just blank technique, number 6 there. Um, that is something my old counselor. I used to see this guy like a counselor, and he taught me this technique. He called it the just worrying technique. Um, However, I don't like that name because I don't consider, like, when I have anxiety, I'm not actually really worrying about anything. Um, I don't. I'm a pretty carefree guy. It's just I just what would be the word? I just like involuntarily like get like just the feeling of anxiety very strongly to the point where it makes me have panic attacks and stuff. But I'm not actually ever really worrying about anything. It's just from being around people too much. When there's too many people around me, I just start to freak out, and there's like nothing I can really do to stop it. It seems. Um, but yeah, the just blank technique is like if you're starting to spiral and you're catching yourself like ruminating about like some negative shit. Um, I would just stop yourself and just say, just think to yourself, just ruminating or just just thinking about negative stuff. That's what ruminating is essentially. Um, or thinking about bad things that happened in the past. I think is the definition of rumination. But yeah, I'd say like just ruminating, or if you are worrying, just worrying. If you're feeling some anxiety, you say just anxiety. You just say 2 words. You want not really want to say more than that. You just say those 2 words to yourself in your head. Just whatever you're experiencing that you don't want to experience anymore. And what that does, how my counselor explained this to me, and it does seem to work. It sounds like nonsense, but it does actually seem to work. Um, it will actually like restructure the thought processes in your brain that that control these things. I don't know how it works, but it's like it takes the power away from it because you're saying like if you're feeling some anxiety, and I'd say just anxiety, that's almost like belittling the anxiety and like making it like taking the power away from it. You know what I mean? Because you're saying it's just anxiety, it's only anxiety, and and then what you do immediately is then you try to start thinking about something else because that like breaks that loop, that like thought loop, and yeah, that definitely helps a lot. And you might even need to do it several times in a row to be able to break that loop if you're really stuck in it, or if you're not very experienced with the technique. But as you do it more and more, you'll find yourself needing to do it less and less and less, to the point where there were times where I would completely forget about the technique, and then I'd catch myself for days just starting to spiral, and then suddenly I'd remember this technique, and I'd be like, "Oh, just whatever," and instantly that days long loop is just broken, and I'm good to go. So yeah, it's a very very powerful technique, and it's very simple, and it takes no time. It's free. Like, might as well at least try it, right? Um, yeah, I think that's about all I was going to touch on for this video. I think I've said that like 5 times already, but when you haven't slept in 3 days, um, yeah, your brain starts to do weird stuff. You start to forget things. I've started hallucinating. Um, I seen a like this ball of light move through my bedroom. So yesterday I was uh, driving. I shouldn't have been driving because I was driving and suddenly I was seeing bats like flying around like in front of my car, and I'm pretty sure there were no bats because it was like 3 degrees outside. It was freaking cold. And I don't think bats come out in the cold like that, but I was seeing bats, and yeah, I'm seeing like random like flash, not like regularly, but every now and then I'll see a random like flash of light, like off in my like peripheral vision, or something. I'll see something move in my peripheral vision. I'll look and there's nothing there, like that kind of thing. Just kind of like just the sleep deprivation hallucinations. If you ever had those, I haven't started getting auditory hallucinations yet, which is weird because that's usually what I get first when I get sleep deprived. I'll just hear like a random voice like say like a few words, and I turn because it sounds real. So I turn quickly and there's nobody there. Um, I've always gotten that when I'm sleep deprived. Even when I was a kid, I got that. I remember once I was really really tired, and I was laid down in bed, and I was trying to fall asleep, and then suddenly, right like from right beside my head, it sounded like they were right there. I heard my grandma say, "Come open your presents," and I just immediately turned, was like, "What?" And there's nobody there. Like I've turned fully expecting to see my grandma there, and there was nobody there. It's very very bizarre how the brain can do that kind of stuff. I guess it's almost like a waking dream. Like what I times when I have been very sleep deprived or like extremely stressed out, I do start to have waking dreams where I will start to like dream and like vividly hallucinate while I'm awake. And it's weird because just like a dream, in the moment you think it's real. It seems totally real to you, and then suddenly you realize, wait a minute, this makes no sense. This is obviously not real. And then as soon as you think that, it boom, it goes away. Just like a dream. When you realize you're in a dream, you typically will wake up immediately. Yeah, it's a similar thing with like waking dreams. And it almost like it sounds very much like schizophrenia, like what I would imagine somebody with schizophrenia experiences, like just from the little bit I know about it. Um, like oh, there must maybe there's some connection there. I'm not sure, but yeah, all that stuff is just quite interesting to me. But yeah, now I think for real, I'm gonna end the video. I don't want it to really go over half an hour. So yeah, this has been entry 10 in my video journal. It's Thursday, September 14th at like 4:30 a.m. Been up for 3 days, and yeah, maybe I'll check in later today and let you know if I managed to sleep during the day. But yeah, take care.